Sourced and bottled in majestic mountains, liquid death mountain water will murder your thirst.
Now I'll pour it with death.
Alright, there we go. We are live.
Hi. We switched sides.
I don't think anybody's here. Oh, wait, no, there are.
I don't like how this feels.
How did we just jump up?
It's weird.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Hi, Courtney. Yeah, I don't... this is weird. Zoom in more. Zoom in a little more. No, that was too much. That's too much. Oh. It's too much. He changed the... So he not only changed where the camera is, but now we have also changed where we're sitting. I'm OCD triggered. Switch back. Hey guys. Hi Michael.
That was weird because we had
Buck.
we had no people in here, and I was like, well, I guess we're just gonna hang out by ourselves today, and then it jumped from 3 to 11 like that.
Tomek. Hi.
Wait, I gotta push the button.
Oh, I'm like, what button?
By the way, Liquid Death had a 50% off sale for Earth Day. I stocked up. My outdoor storage, if you want to rob me, is just stacked with Liquid Death so that I don't have to order it for a while.
We had so many boxes on our doorstep. It was pretty insane. Were you also able to use your discount?
No.
Oh, okay. No. That would have been nuts.
YZ, are you the YZ? That's I don't think I've seen you in stream for ever or a minute.
Ever?
Tomek, what's going on? Courtney, sorry about your OCD, Buck.
Zwa.
Oh man.
You haven't been here in a minute. Hi. Also, I was gonna. Oh, you just moved it. I was like, the poor cow print. This was so secret cow level. There we go. If you put it back, but you just put it right. So, okay, that works. I love that print, but we don't know where to put it. Don't knock down the refused poster.
Oh, you can see the Doomtrooper poster now too. Kinda.
There it is. Nah, go back down. It's not worth it. There's
Yeah.
too much weird wires up there from your projector.
Oh yeah. Hey Willow. Oh.
Sup, nerds?
So
hey.
We're awake. We're here.
Hey. We'll talk about Doomtrooper.
I hope so.
But first, we got vaccinated last week.
Oh yeah.
That's why we were not here, so...
Apology if anybody had to cry themselves to sleep last Sunday night because they had to go a week without their dose of whatever this is.
Renards.
Technically not quite.
Oh, shut up. I actually fared better than Justin. I really thought I was going to be the one that was just had a fever and chills and was achy, and it was him. I actually just had a headache. I was very sleepy. A lot of sleeping.
Yeah. I had a 102 fever. I was hot and cold at the same time, concurrently, for 20 straight hours. It was not fun. But
it passed.
In a weird way, it was fun. I mean,
Well, you took 2 days off of work.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
always
you
fun.
guys have known me long enough to know that I'm always working, and getting sick is like the only time that I'm forced to stop. So I just kind of like
So true. Sad.
slept and relaxed. Is kind of nice in a weird, fucked up way.
We watched like so many hours of Rick and Morty.
It's true. Speaking of, there's a new Rick and Morty trailer, if that's your thing. It came out yesterday, I think.
Can't wait.
Oh.
God, I can't wait. Oh man. Other weird news from living in a city. It was 2 nights ago? 2 nights ago, we were awoken at 4 a.m. by like chainsaw noises. They went on for quite some time, and they were kind of like in the distance. So I was like, surely someone else who's closer would call the police.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone did. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I posted on Nextdoor even, which I never do, because I was like, hey, did anybody else get woken up at 4 a.m.? And I group texted all my neighbors. Not a single person heard it. But, like, I sleep really soundly, and I was woken up to the point of standing up and walking to the window and listening. Like, I know I wasn't dreaming. No, well... So, Courtney said
No.
nothing on Citizen. So, this was at 4:10 in the morning until 4:40 in the morning, the chainsaw. And then they finally cut through whatever it was, and it got quiet. At 2:30 in the morning, there was a really bad drunk driving accident a block away. So, did it take them 2 hours to cut the person out of the car? I don't know. It seems
that seems...
Seems like they would have been dead by then. One person this morning finally responded to my Nextdoor post saying that she guessed it was somebody stealing a catalytic converter.
Because that's been popping here. People have been stealing those everywhere in LA. Just like left and right. So now I regret not calling the police. Whoops.
Yeah. And the fun aftermath is we were walking the dog the next day, and there was this girl with a really nice dog.
This innocent person.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, she's walking her dog on our block. She must be a neighbor. I was like, hey, weird question, but did you hear the chainsaw noises at 4 a.m. last night? And she just went like blank face and looked at me, and she goes, actually, I don't live in this neighborhood, and now I'm definitely not going to look here. And
I was like, Justin, you can't just say that to people without context. Like,
well, I thought she was our neighbor, so she would get it. I mean, every day there's some weird noises. There's some dude next
can
door
you imagine though, just walking your dog and some man comes up to you and he's like, did you hear the chainsaw noises last night? Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, there's some dude next door that is, I don't know if he just moved in or somebody's letting him stay there, but he like threatens to beat his wife at the top of his lungs.
Total rednecks.
Yeah. Like
they're like 60, 65 years old. I don't know where they came from. I don't live here to hear that. I don't live all the way in Los Angeles to hear rednecks.
I actually screamed out my window the other day, stop beating your wife in my parking garage. I don't know if he heard me though.
He's not like beating her.
He shoves her. I've seen her shove.
Yeah.
I've seen him shove her. Like, you know,
It's
she's
like
not getting
low key, awful, slow burn domestic dispute violence. Like
yeah,
not like
it really is
this,
the
but just like
it really is the most
sad.
ridiculous thing to think about, because like
Sad.
she'll say something like let me help you with that heavy thing you're lifting, and he will say no, go inside and cook dinner, and he'll struggle with this heavy thing, and she's like, no, just let me help, and he'll
get out of here.
yeah, he'll like shove her and
Woman.
scream at her, and it's like she's,
Again, I didn't live here to live next door to rednecks. I pay way too much money.
yeah, but you married one.
We've been reforming you for a decade, okay?
Mhm.
I've taught you how to use a butter knife while you eat.
It's true. It's true. I know what a amuse-bouche is. It's like a tiny appetizer or series of appetizers that the chef brings out and gives you, and you get to try these little samples. It's pretty nice.
How bad was he? Pete, he really did. I can't even look straight in the camera because of the angle. He really did not use like a butter knife, like when you're eating and like there's like the last thing on the plate. This fucker would legit use his finger to like push it on the fork. And I was like, you can't do that. You can't do that. So, yeah. I'm like, no. Here's your butter knife. Push it onto the fork.
But the finger is always there. You can just push it onto... You fancy people are weird.
So, that's how bad. Okay, he's fine now. It's been a long time. But I used to joke with him. I used to be like, hey, your Indiana's showing.
Too mad I just got the Moderna stab #1. Hopefully I don't wake up too hungry. Yeah, the Moderna one...
We were fine on the first... We didn't have any...
Yeah, that's what we got.
Yeah.
And the first one was totally fine. It's the second one you got to worry about.
I was shocked how bad my arm hurt, though. I'll say that on that first one. I was like, what the... Pick up the plate and lick it. I think I would prefer that over the pushing it onto the fork with the hand.
One of my friends explained to me how the Moderna works, and verify, do your own research, whatever, but he's a smart guy, and he said that the first shot activates your antibodies, and then the second one, oh god, I fucked it up.
What, like puts into the test? Like, did you study?
Yeah, the first one gives you like the blueprint, and then the second one triggers the antibodies to fight the blueprint. So the first one is pretty negligible, and then the second one triggers your immune system. But the reason that's important, and the reason I believe him, is that he had COVID. So he was saying about how if you've had COVID already in the past, the first one is the nasty one. Because the
if
first
you already
one,
had
right,
it?
the first one gives you the blueprint, and your body's like, oh, we know what to do with this, and they just go to war immediately.
I don't know why that hadn't occurred to me until this moment, that if you've already had COVID, you would have a different reaction to the first shot.
So that's fun. But props to you guys for getting it. Everyone who's gotten the vaccine, you're doing your part, and I'm very eager to see you guys again at a convention and play Doomtrooper, in-person tournament, all the fun stuff that we can do once everybody's vaccinated.
You can make up your own rules. Play by the rules of your tiny little area somewhere in, over in Europe or,
There's actually there's actually a lot of good TikToks. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad TikToks too, and yeah, that's why I don't go on TikTok very often.
Also, because you get caught once you watch one TikTok, they just keep going.
Every time I open
5 hours pass, and you're like.
Every time I open it, it's just some girl going like this, and then she does crazy things with her feet and dances, and I'm just like mesmerized. And then it's another one, and she's like, "Hang on," and her feet are all like blurs, doing crazy. I don't understand it. It's black magic, and.
We got a couch. Did we talk about that? That this is a couch. Yeah. There was a big beanbag there before. Oh yeah, we did. We talked about it the last stream we did. I think that's it. My life is pretty boring. I haven't ventured outside yet, so that's about the scope of my entire life. Go ahead and post a link.
Yeah, Buck,
to
you
the
can
vid.
try. It might block it, and I'll have to fix it.
I think you turned that off.
I don't know. We have 3 bots or 4 bots, I think, now that are competing with each other. I'm in the process of killing them off, and then it'll just be Bovine Bot.
Because Matt26 asked if he could post his YouTube, and he did, and it was fine. See?
Oh,
there you
man. Yeah.
So, you've done a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. You did some cards yesterday, but you've done a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, so you should probably talk about all of that stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to look and see what did I tell Michael? So I went through all of the remaining cards. This light is really bright.
Yeah, you're too white. It's washing you out.
There we go.
Maybe it needs to be turned a little bit.
Yeah, I'll have to adjust it for this new angle. But I went through all the remaining cards and figured out what cards are remaining, which seems. I can actually show you.
Are you gonna bring up that cool Kanban board?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna try at least. Bear with me.
When you say "bear with me," you spell it like the animal. bear with me.
By the way, Julie, you have a Kanban board from September 7th, 2020. I don't know if you plan on doing anything with that.
Oh, I think you just were showing me how to make Kanban boards in Discord.
Yeah. So I think this is interesting data, especially if you're interested in game development in general. We have 30 cards in the backlog, which means they are probably good to go or almost good to go. I just have to write scripts for them, but it means that the game engine supports them. And then we have 7 that I've gone through that are ready. Groomed means I've already looked at the card and decided that it is able to be added. So there's 7 that are ready to go. 5 that I finished that aren't live yet. And then we get into like the weird categories. 5 require blessed and profane changes, when what that really means is if a warrior in your deck is blessed keyword, which means he can cast the art, then you need to be able to add art spells to your deck. I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but what if you, in the deck builder, how do you tell a new user that when he adds when they add a art spell to their deck that they won't be able to play it because none of their warriors are blessed? And then how do you let them know that they only, even if they put one blessed warrior in their deck, they need to use that specific warrior to cast the spell? I feel like the user experience will be bad. So we have to figure out a way. It's going to be something like, if your deck has a blessed warrior, the deck builder will allow you to put art spells in it. And if not, they'll be hidden, which is still confusing, but it's just a logistics thing we have to figure out.
Hey, GTZ.
What's going on?
What's up?
We're talking about nerd shit. I have 6 cards here that need redesign.
That's all we talk about.
They don't work at all.
You can tell by the glasses.
They don't work at all in the digital version. So that's something that we'll have to revisit in the future, maybe on stream. So then we get to the fun ones. These 6 cards require triggered combat. So it means the server needs to say, this player is forcing combat to start between these 2 warriors right now. Not a hard thing to do. It'll just take a little bit of time. Hey, Rez. Advanced GSP means that, like Techron, for example, allows you to look at your opponent's hand, I think.
Wait, what's GSP?
It stands for Game State Packet. This is the data that gets sent to each player that tells them all of the data they're allowed to see. For example, my GSP won't show me your hand, but it'll show me mine. Your GSP will show you your hand, but it won't show mine, etc. These require advanced interactions there. Like when you play a card that says, look at your opponent's hand, I need to be able to tell the server that I'm allowed to see your hand for just this next action. And then after that action is done, it goes hidden again. Also not hard. Most of these are just a day of work to get working before I can add cards. This is the big one, post-combat interrupts. So
a lot of cards.
That is, right. That is immediately after combat ends, both players get to play an interrupt card. So this is important because...
You have to, rewrite everything,
No,
right?
There's a plan for this.
Okay. But I mean... Sorry. I'm so mad. I just mean, currently it's not something that's, in the game. Like once combat ends, it ends. So you have to, insert a step in there.
Sure. She does this to me all day when we're not on stream, too. I'll be like, let me tell you a story. Once there was a dog. Was it a corgi? Let me finish the story and you'll know if it was a corgi or not.
Hey, Josh Strobel.
Hey, Josh. I had a dream about you the other day, by the way, Josh. I'll just leave it at that and let your imagination go wild.
Wow. That is the board is quite, there's a lot.
It's not a real Kanban board. They don't go left or right. They're categories. So each vertical is basically a group of cards that is blocked by a certain blocker. So it's a lot less scary. As soon as I do this blocker, I can add 13 cards that day. It's super cool. Anyways, post-combat interrupt allows you to play a card immediately after combat. This is important because if we don't have this is the only interrupt that's guaranteed to happen during your opponent's turn as long as they attack. So if we don't have this, we could still have a card that says play after combat. But if your opponent finishes combat and then ends his turn, you never got a chance to play a card in this post-combat phase to the end of the turn. So there needs to be a guaranteed way after combat, but before they end their turn, that you can play a card. And that opens up a whole bunch of cards, as well as changes to previous cards if we want.
Courtney loves me.
Courtney, I don't know if you remember, but one of the first times we hung out, I did some crosstalk to you, and I think you snapped your fingers, pointed at my face, and said, "Stop doing that." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And it scared me to death, and I just stopped saying anything. I just let you tell the story.
Courtney's in charge.
She says you were into it. I
probably was.
I didn't say I wasn't. Anyways, moving on. This column is just random. You'll see there's a lot like amnesia here, cards that are disabled. There's a card that disables all factories and industrial complexes, and you have to pay Destiny to reactivate. So what's going to happen there is cards can be marked as disabled, and they'll have an enabler cost, and it'll be global on all cards. So when economic collapse is played, all your factories and industrial complexes are disabled, you'll have to click on it and click activate card and pay the 5 Destiny in order to bring it back, and it'll switch states. It's not incredibly hard, but there's a bunch of random ones in here out of 13. They'll be done last because, if I do disabled cards, it allows me to add 4 cards, which isn't that many. There's 28 cards that were cut for the first expansion. So I've talked about that before. About 3 months after we do the base set, we will do the vehicles expansion, and you'll be able to craft the cards or earn them for free, or you'll be able to purchase a complete playset of all of the vehicles.
Are all of those cards vehicles?
Vehicles and fortifications and cards that interact with them, which is basically a new stat called occupancy and a new stat called durability, which is a change from the original game. Occupancy allows you to go into a vehicle as opposed to just treating them like equipment. It kind of flips it so they're more vehicle-like. And durability is like a stat that a vehicle has that you can destroy it.
There is seriously a card called Trench and then another one called Trencher.
Yes. Trencher's going to Trench. And then there are 262 cards active in the game right now. So that's a fun number. When I saw that number, I was kind of surprised. I was like,
261.
I didn't realize that I had programmed that many. But mostly me had programmed that many cards. So, this was a lot of work. Steve actually already made all these cards. The cards on the Kanban board, not the cards in Doomtrooper. These little boxes. So I just had to go through and organize all of them. It took me a couple hours, but it lets us know exactly what's ready to go, and it allows me to group them and get them done a lot quicker. So like I said,
Steve is like our silent and handsome partner.
Yeah, he doesn't even come to stream.
Not anymore. It's been a minute, but he doesn't really like people.
I did not generate issues for each card since most of the cards, Josh, are pretty straightforward. However, you will see some. And I don't know if you're familiar with GitHub's tool, but you can just come in here and click convert to issue, and it pops up an interface where I can say subtasks, and I can start adding subtasks here. And then it will actually make it an issue, but by themselves they're just regular cards. It's kind of a neat system. So really what I will do is I will add all of these, and over time the blocked where are they? Oh, the needs redesign, I'll make issues for all of these so that we can discuss the design. And then for the random blocked ones, I will probably make issues for those since they're not in a category. But then the headers, I kind of treat as their own tasks. So I'm just like, Blessed Profane Deck Builder update. So if I do that task, I can add these cards.
Cool.
So yeah, that's a thing that I have been working on. Personally, I just end up having all the things be issues because I have a tendency to forget the cards more than the issues I'm resolving them. Yeah, we tried that too. Another problem you can respect, Josh, is our issue tracker, which I don't usually show, but there are 221 open issues with 1,285 closed issues. A lot of them end up being can't reproduce, or they don't have a clear action item, or they bundle a bunch of action items. And I hate it that we always hover around 200 issues, even though the game only has like 30 to fix before launch. it gets a little overwhelming.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a lot of issues.
Yeah, I like the idea of clearer action items. So it's tricky as well because I go through phases where I can't open source my code, but I thought about opening the bug tracker so that everyone can update it. But I'm sure there is some sensitive data in there we don't want people to see. So I made a new public repo that we use the discussion board on, and I'm thinking of making that a public bug tracker and retiring the internal one to be tasks for future like expansions, like stuff we want to keep secret, but then allowing people to actually report bugs on a public tracker. So most likely post-launch we'll mostly retire this private bug tracker. Yeah, Michael, you keep adding bugs. If you don't add it, what did
If you
Trump
don't
say?
add bugs, they don't exist.
Yeah, if we stop testing, then our numbers will go down for COVID. So yeah, Michael, if you stop reporting bugs, then we'll have
Are
less
there bugs?
Oh,
Man.
I got 99 problems, but GitHub reports 221. Very true. I know a few companies end up having some sort of system like Track so people can file issues, you can follow up with them, but they don't see all the issues. Yeah, but those companies probably have employees.
Justin doesn't want to maintain another...
Yeah, how many people
thingy.
do you have working with you, Josh? Like, do you manage a handful of people? Because I guess I technically manage a handful of people, but they're all super part-time and none of them are currently coding. It just gets to be... I can't manage people and code like 7 different projects, which as an OS developer you probably understand, as well as manage like 6 different platforms of project management and community management. It's just, I have to veto it until I have someone to help with that stuff.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I'm actually thinking that I will retire the private tracker when we hit 1.0. The public tracker will be for users reporting bugs. And then I will move actual internal bugs to each different module. So if there's a bug with the client that I need to fix, I will put it in the client repo, which is private. And if there's a bug with the server, I will put it in the server repo so that each issue will tackle its project. Because in theory, I might have different people working on different projects in the future, and it'd be nice to just give them access to their issues. And GitHub does allow you to move bugs now, so I could move things from public to private or private to public if I wanted to. We'll see. It just gets tricky because if somebody reports a bug about the client to the public repo, I can't move it to the private one because then they won't be able to see it anymore.
Ugh.
I don't know. I guess bugs would be public and tasks would be private, which is a good way to look at it. I don't know.
You want to show the cards you are about to put into the game?
Sure.
Do you have to fire up Doomtrooper for that?
I do. So you have to tell stories.
I don't have any stories because I'm waiting to live my life again. I don't know. Although, concerts, there are a lot of concerts that have been announced for the fall. I haven't bought tickets for any yet, but we'll see what happens.
Courtney went to the mall, yes. What? I actually might go into a Target today for the first time. I figure fully vaccinated people with masks can go into Target, right? Is that a thing? I don't know. All right.
Tell a story Justin wouldn't want you to. I don't have to think about that. Well, you guys somehow are kicking ass with the vaccine rollout. It's because we're assholes.
Wait. We were, Josh.
Oh, it's petered off now.
Yeah.
Now this is the fun of. You talked a lot of America. We have all these people that are like COVID deniers that didn't give a flying fuck, right? But then we're also the country that like bought all these fucking vaccines. So now like we've given all the vaccines out to people who want them, and now like there's all these people that just won't take them. So yeah. You don't have to be so dramatic. God.
Yeah, hopefully people will start doing it so we can get that herd immunity
Meanwhile,
thing.
India's like drowning, and like we're just like, nah, I don't. It's gene therapy. I don't want to take it.
If anybody knows or has proof, I would love some statistical data on the was it the Spanish flu? What was the 1912 one?
1918.
1918?
The Spanish flu. Yes.
Yeah. They make it sound like all those people were like pumped to get the vaccine, and we just hit herd immunity like that. And I'd like
What vaccine?
What? There was a vaccine, wasn't there?
I think so.
Apparently I'm hearing completely misinformation. But I heard there was a vaccine and everybody lined up to get it, and there was no complaints about 5G. So if anyone knows info or wants to just contradict me, please do. So let's see. So first up, we have Surprise Attack. Thank you to
Okay, I guess they did.
Thorgal, I think, recommended this card.
Yeah, no, there was no vaccine. Okay, just that's what I thought. There was no vaccine. They just had to like deal with it.
Don't get me started on 5G and how flat the Earth is.
Oh my God, he actually knows how to do the sarcasm thing. Woohoo! Not enough people know that.
I think it was Thorgal who pointed this card out. And last stream, you might remember, I was like shocked because Surprise Attack was a complete surprise to me. I didn't even know this was in our base set. I don't know how I missed it. I guess it's like in the middle of the last third of the alphabet, so I just happened to scroll past it a bunch. But it's basically the attacking variant of Ambush, which is a defending card. Surprisingly harder to implement than I thought. It wasn't as easy as just changing attacker to defender. I had to change some rules, but that card works now, which is pretty powerful. Basically, I can attack you, and then you're like, cool, I'll just defend with this guy who will kill you. And then I play Surprise Attack, which means if I wound you, you don't hit me back. Pretty cool card. Now we have the controversial card. Oops. I swear there's a card in here. We have Fill 'em Up. This card changed a little from the original set because it used to be played during your opponent's draw step, which is not a valid interrupt for digital. So currently it is draw 5 cards, skip your next draw step, which makes it pretty powerful. There's been a good amount of debate in Discord today. But like always, we can't decide on anything. So unless we come to some sort of consensus, this is the one that will go live in this update, and we will just let people go crazy and then have to tweak it. Yeah, a kicker to that, Josh, is there's a rule that we never turned on, which I may be turning on soon, which is at the end of your turn, you have to discard down to your max hand size. You can't end your turn with more than cards, like 7 normally. There are cards that can increase your hand size, though. So what would happen is I would play this during your turn, and maybe I would have 12 cards. Then my turn would start, and I wouldn't draw anything, because you only draw up to max. And then I could play all those cards during my turn, but if I didn't, at the end, I would have to discard down to 7. So you end up cycling your deck a lot faster. So the idea here was, like I said, if the old version was played during your draw step, I would probably have too many cards to draw during my next draw step. So skip your next draw step kind of recreates that feeling, but it is more exploitable. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Concealed Weapon. You play during combat and you equip your combatant with any blade or firearm from your hand. You may take the weapon from your discard pile for 8 destiny. I did a lot of testing on this one. It seems to work great. You can play from your discard pile. However, the current UI doesn't notify you that it is in your discard pile, so I'm going to have an update on that soon. But if you try to play it from your discard and you don't have 8 destiny, it will give you an error message.
Is that new?
Is what new?
The little D? Stop it.
That was good. Julie's acting.
Stop it!
So our good friend Willow, who may still be hanging out with us, added some icons that we were missing. So we have some new icons that we are testing and using for destiny and victory points. So you will no longer, and value. So you'll no longer see the little brackets in the card text, which will look a little better. And then the rest of the UI is going to be updated to account for those, as well as adding a little legend next to the cards. So you'll be able to, if you don't know what it is, you can just look at the legend. So that should help a lot with card sizing. We won't have to use the word destiny or victory, icons are helpful for that.
Helpful for people also that don't speak English.
So thanks
as their first
to
language.
Willow for that.
That one didn't even show the fight one is a great improvement.
So Hasty Getaway is another combat cancel card. For some reason, Brian selected a lot of cards that cancel combat. I don't know what we're going to do about that. So I'm just going to keep adding them until we figure it out. Play during combat, target combatant and all attachment cards return to owner's hand. Attachments owned by the opponent are Wait. I got to change that text. I have a typo. Oh, wait, no, that's correct. That is correct. I hate this text, and that's why. So if I play this card on your warrior, it goes back to your hand with all its attachments. But if I had any negative attachments on it, they're discarded. And if I play it on my warrior, same thing. And if you had any negative, they're discarded, but all his gear goes back to my hand. And leverage, which this one's going to cause a lot of headaches for people, I think.
Hasty is general affiliation.
Yeah, all these cards are general currently. Steve keeps promising that he's going to move a bunch of these to factions, so hopefully somebody does that. Leverage is play at any time. For every one destiny you spend, opponent loses one destiny.
Oh, remember we were talking about this card art and how cool it is.
Hey, this card looks great. The green on green on green, I think, is really cool.
But it's got all the logos on it, the faction logos.
Yeah, Buck, I added Suspend just because it's very similar to Reversal of Fortune.
We showed that, didn't we talk? We talked about this the last stream because we said that this is technically the first edition of the first peak of White Star.
Oh, yeah.
In this version of the game.
Yeah, you can see on the right there's a White Star logo. So
Yeah.
that's a little like homage, I guess, or no, it's foreshadowing.
Sure.
It's foreshadowing. Ah, and there's a shadow.
Ah.
That's good. That's good.
Can you pull up a card that actually like shows like fight and shoot and all that so we can talk about the icons?
Yeah, or yeah, this guy.
There we go. There we go. It's kind of small on your screen, but the fight icon is like actually.
Well, fight, shoot, and armor all have a little more detail on them, which makes them look less like a glowing blur. And then you'll see at the end the value icon is the sideways diamond, which is kind of matching. If you look at the retro variant cards.
These are really hard to see, though.
Yeah, it's really hard to see, but
In black and white.
the classic game was a diamond for value, so we brought that back. So the new icons actually look a lot more like the old icons.
Yeah, they do. They're better. Good job, Willow. Thank you.
So, boop, there it is again. So that'll go live. I'm also trying to figure out a way to add the diamond to the top right of the card so that you will associate that with the diamond.
I don't know how that's going to look good. I sit here and I'm like, the 7 looks good where it is. It's centered. It's
There's
nice.
that little gap, though, to the left, like a little notch. I'm wondering if I can just, like, superimpose it on top of there.
You say that, but that's probably because... Oh, wait, you're talking about between the two pieces of metal?
Yeah.
Like where they meet there?
Yeah, it would, like, it would sit on top of the notch. Thank you, Josh. And thank you, Willow. So, Rez says, how will the vehicle cards look like horizontal? Yes. The current plan is that we will actually make, like, custom art for the vehicles. So, like, if you were to play Grizzly Battle Tank, right? You need 3 open... and I'm making this up, don't hold me to this. You need 3 open slots on your squad. And when you play it, it would take up all 3, but it would be like... It'd be like the actual picture of the Grizzly Battle...
That doesn't sound like it's going to be fun to program.
Just let me finish the sentence.
This is our marriage.
Oh, it is. It's very true. So imagine if we took the Grizzly Battle Tank artwork, and if you don't know what a Grizzly Battle Tank is, just imagine a big white tank painting, right? And we crop out the tank itself from the background, and then we superimpose that on a frame that matches the rest of the Doomtrooper cards, like metal and colored or whatever. So when you play it, you'd get an animation of the tank coming in to scare your opponent, and then it would show up on the board, taking up all those slots. And you would have to, where occupancy comes in, is you would have to put warriors inside the tank, either from your squad or directly from your hand, to drive it. And that is how you would end up getting the tank, like the high stats of the tank. I think Grizzly Battle Tank, God, it is like 20 something for attacking. Like, it's huge. Like, it's gonna just annihilate anything on the board. But you need like 3 actions to put it into the board, 1 action to put a driver in, 1 action to put a gunner in, 1 action to put another gunner in, and then you can just like nuke your opponent's whole board.
So it sounds like it takes like at least 2 turns to even get a vehicle like ready.
I actually have fans. Buck, you make me happy. He says he's gonna do the BRB message.
Yeah, we all know what that is.
It's just funny that I have people who remember my weirdness. So thanks, Buck. But yeah, so the vehicles will take up, and you could probably have 2 vehicles, 3 vehicles on the board at a time. There is a lot of, to Julie's point, there is a lot of prep for that, but you'd be surprised, most of it's already in. I had a vehicle and a fortification in the game as one of the first 10 cards.
I remember that, and you were like, no.
I also had Calistonian Intruder. I think that was the first warrior I added, which is kind of fun. It is a warrior of Ilion, so it is not in the game. But his
I don't even recognize
But his
that.
script still exists in the code base, so he's ready. It's like 8 Destiny, he can heal himself. I chose him because I needed a card that had an activatable ability, and it was the first one I found. So I think it was Mortificator, Factory, Calistonian Intruder, Inspired, which is also not in the game. I don't remember the other ones. But it was fun. It was fun. So, let's see. Where's my notes?
I do remember, it's so far back, but I do remember that, like, epiphany moment of, like, okay, vehicles are not going to be able to to be in for a minute.
So I'm working on Mortis Sword. But I might have to hold that back for the Blessed update, because, well, it is Brotherhood, so I guess it would work for now. You can attach art cards to it. So how that would work is you would click to activate the Mortis Sword, and it would pop up a target select that shows all the art spells in your hand. And when you choose one, it'll leave your hand, and it'll actually annihilate it, but it would attach it to the Mortis Sword. So then that the Mortis Sword could cast... I mean, the Mortis Sword can get another +2 for every card you burn that direction. I'm getting ahead of myself because there's another card that is very similar to that. I think it's Falcon of the... Yeah. So Falcon of the Pilgrims is the same way. You activate it and burn a card to it, and then you can cast that spell repeatedly from the Falcon instead of from your hand, which is interesting. It's going to be a little tricky to set up, but I will probably do is the card that you attach to the Falcon of the Pilgrim will show up in the Shadow Hand, which I added recently. So cards that are being played from anywhere but your hand show up to the right of your hand now, and we'll be adding more and more stuff to that. So you'll burn a card from your hand and attach it to the Falcon, and then whenever it's able to be cast, it'll show up as a card that you can cast, which is kind of fun. So that one's coming soon.
Can you reassign a vehicle?
Can you reassignment a vehicle? No, because reassignment targets warriors, and vehicles are going to be considered a different type. Vehicles and future Warzone cards are currently scheduled to be different types, like attachment, warrior, support, power, fate, and there'll be vehicle and Warzone. But I'm not talking about Warzones yet. Dizzying Aura. For every 2 Destiny this combatant spends, its enemies -1 to fight and shoot. So that's another one that's coming soon. Gang Up. It lets you attack as a group. So basically, you would choose a bunch of warriors, and it would add all their stats to one warrior, and then he would attack. Which is a pretty fun card. And then... Field Repair Kit. What? There it is. basically allows your warrior's equipment to be shuffled back into your draw pile if they're discarded. And Minefield was on the list too, actually. It's another cancel combat, though. If you're defending and that's a fight combat, you can do a Minefield. The attacker gets wounded, combat ends immediately. It doesn't excite me, but apparently that's the direction of Doomtrooper that Brian saw. Oh, you're real dark now.
I know. I'm just sitting here in the shadows.
I don't think canceling combat is that frustrating necessarily. It's more like there's got to be a way to balance it so that the games still don't drag on forever. Like, you just kind of expect miscommunications, and you expect... Sorry, let me help my wife.
Whoa. Now you're, like, blown out, though.
Yeah, well... anyways,
We'll have to redo that.
Minefield doesn't excite me, but it's probably one of the last cancel combat cards, so I'll probably just deal with it.
I love the fact, like, talking about, like, what Buck says here. Some really dumb stuff my friend and I would do with the Falcon. Again, many people made their own fun little rules to Doomtrooper.
Maybe they're valid rules. One thing to note about these cancel combat cards, because they do bug me, and then I know they bug other people too, is I think what will end up happening is that the cancel combat cards will start going into various factions. Like Bauhaus has Get Me Out of Here. Maybe Imperial gets Minefield. We'll keep one in general. I'm not sure which one. Maybe Hasty Getaway. And that way it'll have variety to which cards are in each faction. Something to think about, at least. I guess I don't have a way to show it, but I did post a thing in Discord a couple places where the new tutorial is, thanks to Max Rev's Billy Bob, whatever name he's currently using, has
Shaken
a new... yeah, I need more coffee, but I'm out. Give me something.
It's dairy free.
So the new tutorial is... I created the file for it today, the event file. So I am going to be working on that a little bit today and trying to get like the first step in, like the initialization. And we also created a new versus screen for it, which will be fun. So when you start the game and you get the versus screen, you get a custom versus screen that loads for the tutorial, which makes it a little special, which is kind of neat.
Am I allowed to post that on social, or is that like, you want to keep that under wraps for now?
The GIF is 31 megabytes, so you're probably not able to post it on social. So
Challenge accepted.
we are also cutting out the Metropolitan Prophet art. He's like holding the girl, and then she's got giant boobs, and she's a damsel in distress. So it's problematic a little bit, but like we are cropping it at her head, so she'll still be a damsel in distress, and he'll still be like, well, she'll still be a hostage. But we're cutting the boobage out of it, which I know will upset a lot of our classic European Bonner fans, but it's just one of those things that we just don't want to...
Boobs help sell packs. They might, but...
Yeah, but we just don't want to, like, screw with that whole scenario.
You know, for all the female players we don't have.
Yeah. I mean, it's problematic for a lot of reasons. We need more strong women like Valerie Duvall and less women like... whoever that is being choked out by a Metropolitan Prophet. You should zoom on the boobs. So we're cutting him out to be dialogue because for the for Rez's script, it involved the Metropolitan Prophet showing up and like assisting in the battle. So
Touche, the max on Twitter is 15. All right.
So we'll be able to
Can't
slide him in,
avoid
and
it.
he'll be able to do dialogue during the tutorial, which will be really cool. So that should be done this week, and we'll start testing.
I don't know how to convert a GIF to an MP4.
Yeah, I can create an MP4 from the GIF as well, from my tool that created the GIF in the first place. Anyways, it's important to note that Max Rez, Billy Bob, whatever you want to call him, made a mock-up for a tutorial, and everyone, including me and Julie, really liked it. So we're now implementing that tutorial into the game as the first stage of the actual tutorial that goes live, which means a few things. It means proof of the community-driven development. So people who want to help with this game, I'm always asking / begging / pleading for the help. And people who can actually deliver high-quality content can actually get their stuff in the game. Tomek is a good example. Thorgol, Michael, people who have contributed and seen their changes in the game. Willow is, well, Willow's not a player who came in.
I know, but her stuff's in the game now.
For sure, and we appreciate it.
The game.
I'm just saying, like, people who play the game who think they want to actually help, because there's three types of people who think they want to help. People who want to help but aren't good at it. It's just
bless their heart.
Bless them. But it's like stuff like I'm mad at this card because I got beat by somebody using it, so I want to nerf it. And it's like, well, you're not. That's not good. Just because you got beat by a card doesn't mean we nerf that card and buff your card.
Maybe you should just become a better player.
Hopefully the people like that we meet will start to take like a bird's eye view. You got to look up at the top and not be the guy who lost, but be the guy watching those two players play. And then you decide, was that card too powerful or whatever. And it's trickier. It took me years to wrap my head around that, so I can't blame people for that. But I encourage.
Definitely don't see the big picture.
Yeah, if you want to make design changes to Doomtrooper card changes, you have to take a bird's eye view and take emotion out of it. And what someone taught me was never say, well, our players would like it if that card was nerfed. You have to make a general, like Ricky, who I call like the dumb player who doesn't read anything, and it's not named after anybody, it's a fictional name. Ricky would hate that card, or Ricky would love that card. And never say our players, because what you're really saying is I. And you have to describe another player archetype in the design. Anyways, that's one. The other type is people like Max Rez who deliver these amazing mock-ups with art and scripts and stats, and it's like, holy cow, that's amazing. And then the third type of people who want to help just explode in anger and quit.
We got some of those.
Yeah, they'll come in and they'll be like, I love this game, I'm so excited that it's coming back and I have all these ideas. And then we'll say, well,
some of those.
That idea doesn't work and here's why. And they're basically like, F you! And they're gone. And they spend the rest of their life posting shitty comments on our Facebook posts. It sucks, but I'm hoping that they come back eventually.
We got a couple of those. People get so mad. I mean, it's cool that they are passionate, but they get mad.
I'm hoping that those people come around.
It's always so sad,
because they love Doomtrooper, I love Doomtrooper. We should all be working together, and I welcome all of them back into the community. It's just, if they're gonna come back into the community, it has to be with less profanity and name calling and other horrible things. So.
I'm not so sure about the one person.
But if
you're gonna comment on all Facebook posts and make me have to hide them and deal with that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
I'm not gonna name any names, but
people do need therapy.
What did he call me? I think he called me the hard R. Am I allowed to say that on Twitch?
Let's not.
Yeah.
He definitely called you the hard R a couple times.
Yeah. So that's always fun.
And he says it's a shame. This game is a shame.
Yeah. It's a shame that we brought back your favorite game of 20 years for the first time and you're not playing it. That's the shame.
Sorry. Not sorry.
So yeah, but this tutorial is going to be testable in some fashion this week, which will be great. And that means that Max Rez will in some fashion have his name in the credits of the game for designing the tutorial. And that's awesome. For the last decade...
The entitlement is real for some people. It sure is.
Yeah,
it sure is.
What's the line? Some men just want to watch the world burn. It's like, if you choose your favorite thing from childhood, like let's say Transformers. It's a great example. You love Transformers, but you spend all your time talking about how Michael Bay ruined the movies. You boycott seeing them, and you write huge blog posts on YouTube about how everybody should not go watch it. There is some irony there, because if Michael Bay's movies were to flop, then we probably never would have seen Transformers again for another 20 years. So if you loved Transformers, by proxy, in my opinion, you have to kind of support Michael Bay. Otherwise, you don't get Transformers ever again. You know what? It's a weird thing, but like, do you want your favorite thing to die, like, and never come back, or do you want other people to have some joy by playing with little robots and turning them into cars? I don't know. It's tricky. Because, Michael Bay. Anyways, I was saying, over the last decade, people always came to me when I was working on, like, Fallout and Alpha Protocol and all that, and they'd say, like, oh, I really want to get into the game industry. How do I do that? It's not get a degree, although a degree can help. And it's always the same answer. It's make something. Create something that you are passionate about, and game developers will see, like, studios will see that passion and they'll hire you because of it. And I always use the example of this guy, Jorge. He made a mod for an Elder Scrolls game that was worldwide acclaimed. People loved it. He didn't get paid. He just made a mod that improved an Elder Scrolls game. And since Fallout used the same engine as Elder Scrolls, we hired him immediately. We were like, this guy loves this engine. He's good at it. He's passionate. We need him on the team. And he got to work on Fallout games. And it was all because he made a mod. There's truth to that whole thing. But the flip side is I am one guy trying to make this game, and if you legitimately help, I want to put your name in the credits. So then, if you want to get a job in the game industry, you can show the credits from this game with your name listed in it. It's like it's like a cheater path to getting into the game industry right here with Doomtrooper. And it's kind of a cool thing. Like, I want to give back to the people who help, and whether that means money, or credit, or hiring them full-time someday, like whatever. But at the bare minimum, you would have your name in the credits, which means something. Like, people
subscribe
will
to my own channel. What?
It's how you get experience without having experience. It's the secret trademark. Yes, Willow gets it. Game development is hard work, and the competition to get your foot in the door is even harder. But showing up and being like, I worked, like, if I hadn't been in the game industry and I created Doomtrooper, like, I guarantee I could walk into a junior programming position at some company, show them this, and probably get the job.
I mean, you made a thing.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I made my own game engine, my own backend, my own rendering engine. I organized a team. I coded everything. It took 4 years, and I finished it. Here it is. They'd be like, holy crap, we're going to hire this guy because he created something unpaid, hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, passion for games, whatever. So, yeah, I try to give people the opportunity to get a little piece of that. I mean, Willow's already have an amazing resume, so she doesn't need her name in my credits, but, maybe it'll help a little bit. You never know.
The Last of Us.
People got to understand that you don't have to come out and make a AAA game. Just make something you love and you're passionate about. You don't have millions of dollars and hundreds of million years. Keep your goals realistic. Release something and get recognized. Right. Josh, I don't know if you agree, but I would say what they shouldn't do is make a game engine in JavaScript from scratch that has a back-end multiplayer massively component, or, in your case, an entire operating system. Those are MMORPGs and operating systems I believe you should kind of, not work on. And you should pick things like smaller utilities or GUI apps or single-player games. Yeah, don't do either of those. The hell were we thinking?
Whiskey.
Yeah. Correct me if anybody knows. I would love to know, but I don't think there has ever been an indie.
Lana.
I don't think there has ever been an indie MMORPG that made it past alpha. It doesn't count if a publisher came in, funded them, and they staffed up. But just like a guy who said, I'm going to make an MMO, and he posts a screenshot and it looks amazing. He maybe even posts a tech demo with a back end and it works. They, not him, they.
I'm going to break you.
I don't think that any MMO has ever... No, graphics. It requires graphics. Oh, yeah, Solus is the main Linux operating system I use when I'm not using Windows WSL2. Which, Josh, I would love to test Solus inside WSL2. I know that sounds like heresy to you, but if you have a way to help me set that up. I don't understand the connection between WSL and the Windows Store and all that in terms of the OS, but I know people are running Kali, they're running Arch Linux, they're running Ubuntu, a couple other ones. Like, I would love to switch my WSL2 to Solus, and I'm more than willing to do it if you wanted to work with me on that. Just heads up. Might get some new users. I don't know. Maybe not.
Linux.
Lots of
Linux
newbies say
gaming.
they want to make an MMO. A lot of students back in the day would say as much. It takes so many people to make something that large. It's true, Willow. I thought I was going to make an MMO for a while, but obviously I did not. Instead, I made a massively multiplayer online card game. I just need to get that massively multiplayer quantity going. One day. I mean, I imagine there's got to be a pipeline for it if everybody else, all the other distros are doing it. So I'm down if you are. All right. Well, that's those are things. So the updates have been a little slow for the past couple weeks, other than COVID vaccination. Like I said, I've been doing all these behind the scenes things. So as you now saw, I have the amazing Kanban board of all of
Doggo!
Of all of the tasks I need to do. Let's just go over there for a minute.
So innocent.
Yeah, look at that. Look
He's
at
just
that.
sleeping. He's so old. He just sleeps a lot.
That is.
He's a pure soul, you guys. He's like really good. He's well behaved.
It's so cute. But yeah, we also are currently, I didn't mention this, thanks to this wonderful woman here, we are currently running ads for Doomtrooper. So
We haven't done it in a minute.
they are small because we are trying to test a pipeline for basically like, we need an ad. How does my idea or Julie's idea get into Facebook and Twitter and Instagram in the right format? How do we track the results? How do we quantify the results? That kind of thing. But we are buying ads.
I think we still need to do a lot of work on our UTM tracking.
After the new tutorial is done and we have a little bit more of a solid new player experience that grabs the player, we are going to significantly up the amount of money that we're spending on ads. And basically the way the rest of the year works is Doomtrooper will complete the base set and we will close all of like the major bugs that we found, and we will snowball a huge amount of our revenue back into advertising. And if by the end of the year we have made the Doomtrooper Mutant Chronicles Incorporated Cabinet Entertainment guys happy, then we will have probably set ourselves up to run Doomtrooper and support this project for the next 4 or 5 years. However, if we do all the ads and we put all our money into that and people don't want to play it, then that's a whole other outcome.
I'll tell you what, Facebook Ads Manager is so convoluted. The last time I had a job where I was setting up ads was like 2016. The job I have now, I oversee an agency where they do it. Thank God. Because, like I said, so I haven't really dove into doing Facebook ads since 2016. And just trying to run these last couple of ads, it's so convoluted. Facebook Ad Manager is so ridiculous. And, yeah, it's even changed just in a couple of years, and it's enough to make you want to like chuck a laptop.
And don't forget that we've been locked out of our Facebook ads account for months, and when you make a request to fix it, they don't, like, you would think since ads are their main revenue source that they would fix that shit quickly. They don't. And if you make a request to their system that they don't like, they automatically close it without even responding. So Julie, Steve, and I all tried to get our Facebook account open and couldn't. We kind of gave up and we're just going to do Twitter ads.
No, we were going to just use like our personal.
Right.
So when you go to make ads, you create an ad account for like Doomtrooper or Secret Calibur, but then you also can run it through your personal. You have a personal ad account too. It's really fucking weird.
Anyways, we want to keep everything on the Doomtrooper ad account for organizational purposes and, you know,
blah, blah, blah.
taxes and payment and all that. But then Steve, bless his heart,
I don't know how he did it.
Watched a bunch of YouTube videos and he made the right kind of requests to the support system, and he messaged me one day. He's like, "Hey, I fixed our ad account." I was like, "What? Are you serious?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I logged in and sure enough, it was back live again.
What was it like so somebody hacked our account a while ago and like ran this bullshit ad, and in order to fix the account, you had to just toggle that ad set off, but we couldn't get to the point where we could even toggle it. So we were like trapped in this loop, and I don't know, somehow Steve figured out how to actually be able to just toggle the damn thing off, and then everything was
I think
fine.
it all started because we had a fraud.
No, it's bad. It's real bad, Josh. I don't even think it's that like, Facebook is an absolute mess when it comes to managing Facebook pages. I don't even think that's bad. The ads are crazy. And like I said, it made me really respect. So the job I have now, I oversee an agency that does our paid Facebook, our paid media. And I'm so grateful. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I don't have to do this every day because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, Oculus is just as bad. Like when I first got my Oculus Quest, I couldn't buy any games because I merged my Facebook and Oculus account, which you have to do now. And then when I would try to add a payment method to the Oculus platform, it would proxy it. And I only know this because I was looking at the network traffic. It would proxy it to Facebook, and then Facebook would return an error because our ad account was locked.
Not even your ad account, because remember I said that there's personal ad accounts. It was the Doomtrooper one, which shouldn't have had anything to do with your account. So I had a
fraudulent ad account because somebody hacked our ad account, which wouldn't allow me to add payment methods to the ad manager, but it also wouldn't allow me to add it to Facebook. And then by proxy, I couldn't add a payment method to Oculus, but Oculus would receive this weird error message from Facebook, and they would give me a vague error message like unable to add credit card, and that's it. So Oculus support couldn't help me because they didn't understand the error because it was proxied 3 things away from Facebook.
Anyways,
Mark Zuckerberg, get your shit together. Get a box. Put your shit in the box. I don't care. Just get it together.
Get it together. But yeah, so we finally started, not like he said, not spending a ton of money. I'm just trying to run like a video ad up against a slideshow, which is just kind of a video. Just static images in a row. See how that does. Also targeting people that play video games and like Magic the Gathering. That's the current ad set. I wish you could target pages, but you can't. But oh well. Target like people that like other pages. Anyways. What are you doing? Are you zooming in on Doggo? Wow. So much activity there.
So anyways, we had this slow period where we were getting the ad systems running. I was getting the back end figured out so that we were able to add cards quicker. And one thing I didn't mention is I had spent a bunch of time on this little section here, asset integrity. So this is the first version of code that checks to make sure you have audio files, avatars, card art, card backs, parallax UI, and video files. Because we have a bunch of new players who have joined who they come to support and they're like, all of my graphics are broken. Because when they were installing the game, they either killed it or their internet went out during the patching process. Whoops. And it didn't quite catch it properly. So they end up missing like all their textures. Now, if you load the game and you are completely missing any textures or any of these files, it will alert you. It'll open this menu, and there'll be a fix button that shows up right here that will force you to re-download all the assets.
And also, you forgot, the one that's not loaded will appear red. So the second, it's hard to see on the screen, but asset integrity, it's like audio checkmark, avatars checkmark. If you don't have one of those, it'll be bright red. Right.
So it's not perfect because the fix button will just force all of them to re-download instead of just the one that you're missing. And it doesn't detect... Bye, dog.
You did all that work,
and
now he's just like, fuck you.
It doesn't detect if you're only missing one. It's basically all or nothing. Like, it assumes that the download is screwed up entirely. That might not be the case, and we might see people still reporting this bug, but hopefully not. And if that's the case, I can do like better checks. I can check the MD5 hash a little better. I can check the file sizes specifically. Right now I just check how many files are in the folder, and if it's empty, it's like, all right, I'm gonna fix this. So it might catch it. But
so to go back to what you're saying about ads, it's weird. So like, I don't know that I can target Warhammer because I don't know why Magic the So again, it's not so. If I could have my way, I would have done an
You've got
ad
enough coffee.
that targets like Paul Bonner has a page, right? So I would have targeted like people that like Paul Bonner, people that like this, da 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 da, and then I would have ran them all and seen like what yields better results. I don't understand why some things show up and some things don't. Like Magic the Gathering showed up because I think it's just so huge in popularity, but I couldn't. I don't think I can target Warhammer. I don't think it'll show up. I just don't think it's like as big of a thing.
You guys know the story with Warhammer Digital, right? Like they weren't making any money.
I'm sorry. I'll look into Hearthstone because Hearthstone is a pretty big property, right? But it's weird. Again, it's not just every page that exists shows up in targeting. It's like bigger cultural things seem to show up. I don't know. I will look into Hearthstone now. Sorry, Justin. Go ahead. Please talk.
Welcome to the Julie Show.
Oh my god. It's been the Justin Show for like 40 minutes.
Wow, stream got 10x better. What was I even saying?
I don't know. Probably something unimportant. I'm just kidding. Anyways, yeah, Warhammer probably won't show up. Hearthstone might. I'll look into that.
I don't remember what I had. Something important.
You were going to talk about Warhammer and the game.
Yeah, it's something else.
The CCG.
Anyways, the Warhammer thing is they weren't making any money, so they just said, "Hey, do you want the Warhammer license?" And any, homeless guy in Skid Row who raised his hand, they're like, "Yeah, cool. Here's a license," and they could go make something with the game. That's why there's like 10 billion Warhammer games out there, and they're all competing with each other.
Multiple people.
Oh yeah.
Are acting on that license.
For a minute, it was like anyone who wants the Warhammer license, they just handed it out, and you could make games. They threw a wide net to try to make as much money with the digital as possible.
So anyone could just make a Warhammer game.
I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah. Not anyone. You have to go to the company.
Right.
It was like, do you know the joke about Netflix? Where it's like, hey, Netflix, I got an idea for a story. They're like, great, green light, here's $1 million. Because they were just making so many shows. Like Warhammer did the Netflix...
the thought is the good stuff will rise to the top. Well, I love this Warhammer Digital, no money.
So the other thing I was going to say is, so you guys won't see this menu where it says choose one here, but I'm adding more stuff to the developer menu for developers. Like the test the tutorial button will be here, or test new events, anything I need developers to see. But this choose one is new. It's mainly for me and Michael right now, but these are, oh wow, it doesn't show up on the stream. That's weird. Okay, so there's a drop down here that you can't see.
Rises too.
Which is really weird, which has a list of cards. I'm highlighting them even though you can't see them. So I'm going to choose the one that says fill them up, and I'm going to click it. And it triggers a game. And once I get into the game, you'll see 1, 0, boop. I have a very specific set of cards, which is not the one I want. But I got fill them up. So if I want to test fill them up, I can test it right here.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's a very quick way, like when these go live, Michael can just go into that menu, find the card he wants, and test it. And in the medium term, I'm actually going to store those test settings.
For miscommunications?
I'm going to store those test settings in the database, so every single card in the game will know the bare minimum cards it needs to be tested, so that developers can just say, like, any card that has a bug, they can just click that card from the list and it will test that card in the game. It speeds up development, like, drastically.
Can I have my coffee back?
And I have a lot of little developer tools in the engine. If anybody ever wants to make their own card game when I release it, there's a lot of little developer things in here where you can like type commands and it'll print things out. But I'm trying to get past that and have more like mouse-driven commands that make it a little easier and faster for anyone to make changes to the game. So yeah. Good times. Anything you can do if you ever make your own game engine or your own operating system, anything you can do to maximize the speed of development should be your highest priority, because it wasn't mine for a long time. And now I'm saving tons of time by doing that. So. You guys have bored Julie so much, she's on her phone.
No, I was seeing if Matano was
Yeah, what's up with Matano?
doing his thing. He's apparently not.
So Buck is nigh. The thing about the engine, and I've mentioned this before, is the rules are enforced right now at a deck building level, but they will eventually be also enforced a second time when you start the game. But those rules are configurable, and the event system allows me to say like, oh, you can have a deck that's just 60 Undead Legionnaires, and that's it, even though you don't own 60. So I could drop you into a game where you have 10 miscommunications in a deck, but you don't actually own those, which is what allows me to do things like the tutorial, the faction war system, and the future event system that'll go live, where you'll have a special event every weekend that you can log in with custom rules and stuff, which also allows me to introduce cards like Ilian, White Star, all that kind of stuff.
All right, he's taking the day off.
Well, hopefully he's all right. I dare you to drop me a game where I have 10 miscommunications. Yeah, it's a really cool system to be able to just spin up games with whatever cards we want. And I'm really glad I did that. I wish I would have done it sooner. But I look forward to having events in the future where you fight against Ilian or you fight against White Star. Even though White Star cards aren't in the game and you can't use them, I can let the AI use them against you, which will be fun. So, all right, I think we're about done here. Unless Julie has any more facts about Facebook ads.
No. Not at the moment.
Well, so I'll be pushing this update probably tonight, maybe tomorrow. I want to add one or two more cards before I push it. But, yep.
Do you want to raid sympathy?
No, I'm not going to rate anybody today.
Okay. All right.
I don't think. Because, rating game dev people might be a different audience than Doomtrooper people. But Buck, thank you for hanging out. Everyone, thanks for hanging out. Facebook on the ads issues. Yeah, well, if you ever have any questions about that stuff, let me know. Or if you just want to know the content of the dream I had about you, hit me up. We will be back next week. And I have actually been wanting to stream developer stuff again. I'm trying to figure out, maybe I'll just do it one night a week or something, so it's not as overwhelming. But I am working on a lot more Doomtrooper related stuff during the week, so might as well stream it while I do, right? So thank you guys for hanging out. Please consider subscribing.
We never say that. Give us credit. We never say that.
Smash that button.
Smash that like button.
I love how every YouTube video tries to teach you how to use YouTube. It's kind of funny.
Turn on notifications.
Yeah, if you're on mobile, turn on notifications and smash that like button and consider subscribing.
It's like, I know. Okay.
Now, here's an ad from Squarespace. All right. I'm just kidding. No Squarespace ads, only Liquid Death. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week, and I'll be on Discord, and I'll be pushing a lot more updates, I think, now that I've got the foundational stuff out of the way. So watch for that, and apologies in advance for breaking all your games with all these super OP cards. All right, see you guys around.